Sports Show. I'm Jess, I'm your host today, and I'm here with Kurt. Welcome, Kurt.
Thanks, Jess. How are you doing today? And welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining us.
I'm very good. Look, today I want to talk about our event that we had in Auckland. It was an awesome event, and I just want to talk about lessons learned from the event and some of the key takeaways for our clients and people in the room on that day. So, first question of the rank, how did you find it?
Oh, it was incredible. Definitely. I mean, I was fanboying out, man. Like, as a South African born in New Zealand, the All Black Springboks clash, colossal. It's just like, it's in my DNA. So, what a pleasure to meet Piri Weepu and Duane Vermeulen. It was, it was incredible. So we'll get into it because there's like so many learnings and just looking at the parallels, right, between sport and business. But to give people an idea, like straight after the event, I had a guy come up to me who's been to a lot of our events and he said, best event you've ever done.
Yes.
I mean, he was a Kiwi, but still, I think, and I said to him, your opinion matters because you've been to events. I've coached him and he was really, really impressed. And there was plenty of other feedback like that as well. So I think that says it all, right? We just wanted to add value and make sure everyone in the room, left with new ideas, not just inspiration, but ideally like a paradigm shift and then a trajectory with clarity on what to do next, a good roadmap. And I think everyone did. It was really good.
Look, one of the feedback that I got at the end of the session was really how interesting it is to do that link, that parallel between the sports and leadership, and then obviously business and leadership. And you and I, we talk about this all the time, right? So to us, it's probably more common, but it's funny how some of the conversation we had around, sports and leading teams and team culture in sports can really be applied to business too.
There's so much like strategy, tactics, leadership, mindset, team building, culture, process, discipline, preparation, huge. Like one of the guys who was in the room was a cousin of Piri Weepu.
Yeah.
And he played rugby and he was like, he said, it's astounding. He didn't realize, how close, things are, everything we just mentioned, how closely aligned it is with business. He hadn't really thought about it. And then was just saying that was another bit of positive feedback, how we did a great job of, aligning those two things throughout the day. Yeah.
And then obviously we also had our industry experts with us on the day also that gave some awesome presentations. Yeah,
automation, CRM, marketing, cash flow, job scheduling, cost analysis.
Yes.
Yeah.
But my question for you, Zach, what was your absolute favorite part? And I think I know what the answer is going to be, but you too.
Again, like, South Africa born in New Zealand, meeting Piri Weepu, but going to fetch Duane Vermeulen, that was, I was excited but nervous, man, because that old adage of don't meet your heroes.
Yeah.
Like I've watched any Kiwi or South African listening who likes rugby. I know everyone does like rugby, even if they're South African or New Zealander. But so those that do, it's just, it's hard to put into words, right? It's just, waking up at 3 a.m. to watch the games. And then, I mean, my mother woke me up when I was 8 years old to watch it. She was like, Kurt, you're born in New Zealand, the All Blacks playing Springboks, you got to watch. And I was like, what the hell am I watching? Like I didn't understand it, but then, the Boks winning the 95 World Cup in 2007. There's all the history and the rivalry. And I've never been up close to the Boks. I mean, I've been to the games, but I've never interacted with any of the players or the coaching staff. So here I was driving to the hotel to fetch a guy who recently retired Springbok, currently in the coaching team on the day before the biggest test match of the year. And, I wasn't sure, what if we don't hit it off? What if, there's, I don't know, like
an awkward
an awkward moment but he was awesome. It was like, so long story short, better than I expected, easier to talk. Duane was just like fantastic, so relaxed, down to earth. And then he shared some unbelievable stories, right? And pearls of wisdom. It was great. And then the game the next day, right, going to Eden Park. that place is like the spiritual ground of the All Blacks. It's got a charisma, right? I heard that. So Auckland's built on top of like ancient volcanoes, like 56 volcanoes or something. And I swear you can feel something there. Like I think I said it to you, like Cape Town's got it. There's like the charisma. And then parts of Australia as well. Like I believe Uluru has like you can feel something, right? There's something there. And I felt Eden Park was like it. Yeah.
But tell me about your conversation with Duane. What's one of the key takeaways? I know you had many really inspiring stories, but can maybe name one for our listeners?
So we had like the conversation flowed as soon as he got in the car. I just drove a kilometre from the venue to fetch him. But I asked him about the Eden Park record. Like, you guys could make history. It's like a box hadn't won since 1937. And he's like, we don't care about that. What's a record? Like, it's all process over outcome. The guys just focusing on what they're doing. He said it's a game. It's a game of rugby. So I think that's a mindset tactic. And that's the other thing. On the way back, I asked him about, people listening would have heard me say a lot. Yeah, like I say this at our events all the time, your business will never outgrow your leadership, right? And it's not too difficult to understand that. Like, if you're a complete moron and, you're incongruent, you're saying one thing, doing another, who's going to want to follow you? How are you going to build a dream team, right? So you've got to be the type of leader that people want to follow into battle, right? You've got to build character above all else. And you got to be disciplined, you got to follow process, you got to make decisions that are not, they're not always going to work out. So you've got to develop immunity to criticism. But that 70% of success is mindset. That phrase, I was like, is that true? Like, is it really 70%? And I asked Duane, I said, hey, what do you reckon? So the guys won 2 World Cups. It was man of the match in the 2019 World Cup. Just got, for people that don't know rugby union, like, the guys achieved a lot of things. So he shot back 80%. He said 80. And then I was like, whoa. And then I realized, because you spoke about Razor's Edge, you did this presentation called Razor's Edge. And then I said to you, hey, I don't know if you know, but the All Black coach, his nickname is Razor. So maybe we should change it to Russie's Edge, the Springbok coach. But that Razor's Edge, that was all about. Do you want to tell us? Like, what does it mean again? And what's the concept about?
Yeah, so it's from the book Born Rich by
Bob Proctor, Born Rich. Yeah.
Yeah, and his example of the Razor Edge is the Olympics back in I think it's 1893, something like this. So it's quite a while back. But basically, in the 100-meter race, there were only 8 men competing. And the difference between the one winning, so number one, the first place, and the last one coming through the finish line is like 0.13 seconds.
Yeah, so just over 1/10 of a second between first and last.
And absolute last.
Yeah, and then first and second is often a photo finish. Like, it's like the Melbourne Cup as well, right? Like, you're in Australia. I remember the one year won by like 2 millimeters. Its nose was just in front. Yeah. But the difference between first and second is
just first and second,
like day and night, right?
Yeah, exactly. There's a winner, and then obviously first and last, there's a winner, a loser. There's someone that goes away with medal, achievements, endorsements, money, etc. And the last one, nothing, loser, literally.
Well, it's like Paris 2023. We watched the Boxer win. They won by 1 point.
Yeah.
And the All Blacks could have won that so easily. But becoming world champs, those players' lives, their trajectory changes. It changes their lives. Like, if you once you've got that sort of accolade.
And so the idea of that segment that I did on Razor's Edge was that there's sometimes the difference between winning and losing, or in business, like excelling and being successful and just surviving, can really be one small thing, but one small thing that makes a difference, like a decision, just a decision of doing something or not doing it, or just differentiating yourself from your competitors, etc. So it could be just one small thing that's actually going to make a massive difference.
Yeah, and it could be like, we talk about habits and routines and how important that is, right? And you are what you do, not what you say. So the best leaders, they follow a certain routine and structure, whether it's with their marketing, their sales, their financials, their morning routine. I started having cold showers recently, had another one this morning, and I freaking hate the cold. And now I love it. I love getting in there because afterwards you feel bulletproof, right? But mindset. A lot of people don't think about what's a mindset routine. So just practicing centering yourself, staying present, get like mindfulness breathing to get, and there's a lot of stuff on breathing out there. There's a guy that, I forget his name, Wim Hof, I think it is.
Yeah.
I maybe pronounced his name wrong, but it became very clear to me, like when I was driving back with Duane, and he said 80%. He didn't even think. I said, you think 70% is too much? He said, 80, easy. And then I realized, yes, because a lot of these players, like if you look at their ability, right, like the Springboks and the All Blacks, there's not much between them. Like they're all gifted. They're really good at what they do. So just having that mindset, and I know listening to sports psychologists like the guy, Michael Gervais, that works for the Seattle Seahawks, he talks about the players that make it to the Hall of Fame, like the Michael Jordans of the world. The one metric that differentiates them from a mindset perspective, all his content's around mindset, right, in peak performance, is positivity. And the best players, like a Jordan, he'll miss. And then within not even a second, he's like, give me the ball. Give me the ball. They have zero doubt and they just want to go again. As opposed to someone who's got a weaker mindset and they screw up, especially like in high pressure games, right? If there's a minute on the clock, it's a grand final, and then you knock on or you do something, that causes the other team to potentially lose. It's your ability to clear the calculator, put that in a box, and then, I've got a process for playing a reel of them doing something amazing to get out of that mind, that negative state of mind, because that impacts performance, right?
Yeah. That makes me think of when we were talking to Piri Weepu, when he was doing his presentation.
Yeah, I want to get to that as well.
Yeah. Transferring to Piri. I don't know if you remember, but he spoke about how when they had a big game on, they decided about like a theme or a mentality, mindset they wanted to like get into for that specific game. Yeah. And they would apply that mindset like at least a week beforehand. And so he said for one of the games, I think it was for the with the Springboks, they said they were going to have a wolf pack mentality. Yes. And so a week ahead in everything that they did, like the trainings, but also like, even when they just saw each other or going out, etc., they had this wolf pack mentality. And so they were really like living it every single minute of the day, and just to really ingrain that theme for that game, basically.
Yeah, and it's like a collective psyche, right? Where it was just wolf pack. And I've heard the Boks use something similar. I think Wild Dogs, Pack of Wild Dogs. It was on Chasing the Sun. There's a documentary.
Oh, yeah.
And you hear Ibn Etzebeth saying it. Like you said, wild dogs, wild dogs. And then, so they've got that phrase and they all know what it is, but apparently they embody it and they talk about it the whole week in the lead up. So they get into that mindset, and then there's that. And he spoke about the black tide or black wave, a black wave, where that was their defense thing, just to be because they got black jerseys, the All Blacks, just be this black wave that hits the opposition. And it's clever.
Yeah. Another thing that Piri spoke about was mental health, and obviously he was really advocating mental health. And he mentioned, was it 2019 when he was man of the match?
2011.
Oh,
World Cup.
Yeah. 2000. So he mentioned, I think, that during that time he was actually struggling.
That week, yeah,
he was struggling with mental health, which it's really nice of him to like share that with us. And he was talking quite vulnerably.
Well, his cousin was saying he sees him at family functions, but he'd never heard him talk about it. So it's one of those things that he was okay to reveal. And again, it was nice of him to share that, right, with everyone in the room, and important as well.
Yeah, and the pressure, right? Because coming up to these big games, and the pressure must be enormous.
Well, that's the thing. That's the fascinating thing. And then that points to the level of professionalism with that guy. That game, I believe it was a quarterfinal, and he got man of the match. And he was the kicker, a goal kicker, and he kicked 7 goals. I don't think he missed any. So he got 100%. And he was having mental health challenges. Like if anyone's had, any form of depression, whether it's, clinical or situational, to be able to perform at that level whilst in that state, it points to one thing only, which is what came out of both Duane and Piri's conversations, right? Process over outcome. So they have a process, a bit like Olympic athletes or whatever it is. They have their process, Because a lot of people look at these sportsmen and they go, how do you perform under pressure, man? Like it's, you know what I mean? When it's like, must be like the weight of the world on your shoulders, but they can take themselves out of that situation because they've done it thousands of times. And then they tell themselves, I'm just doing this thing again, like I did in the gym or like we practiced. And then they just execute on that and don't allow the, you know, the enormity of the moment to overcome them. But it's easier said than done. But he was able to do that, which is really impressive. Yeah.
Yeah. So guys, if you're interested in having any of these videos, we will send it to them. So just email us info@builderscoach.com.au and we'll send you the videos of those 2 interviews.
Absolutely. We're still waiting for them. I can't wait to see it. We should have them tomorrow, so we'll have them by the time this gets broadcast. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I go back to Duane? Because I hadn't finished.
Of course,
yeah, you're asking me some things, right? So 2 more stories. There was so much. Like I was chatting away and I was really interested because he coaches as well. But he was talking about, remember, psychometric profiling? And we did a pod on disc profiling, right? And people can go back and watch that. It's really useful, especially for leadership communication, which is what leadership is. You need to be able to communicate your vision, your ideas, manage a team. But he spoke about how Russie, the Springbok coach, got a psychometric profiling specialist to come in and do a deep analysis, like a proper, you can do really deep ones on the whole team. And he found that there were only 4 guys that were able to handle extreme pressure, to be able to stay calm, very calm, under extreme pressure.
And make a decision. I think that's what it was. Like
because
pressure.
when you feeling pressure, then and like if you look at a Navy SEALs or battle scenario, right? What happens is your emotions flare up when people are dying next to you, bullets are flying around your head, and your IQ drops down. You know what I mean? So some people have the unique ability in that situation to stay calm. And like when you're flooded with emotion, like when you get angry, you see red, you're not making rational decisions. So the ability to stay calm in a high pressure situation and make decisions is a very unique ability. So interesting story. Before we went to New Zealand, I know we're going to be talking about AI, I think in our next pod, but I asked chat, I said, hey, based on all the interviews and the information out there, give me a psychometric profile for Duane. And it came back with a DS, which is extremely unique, which I should have asked him what 4 players. I didn't ask him, but I reckon he's one. But I think on his wiki page, he is most known for staying calm under pressure in the high pressure moments. Because, I mean, the Boks won some real clutch moments in that. I mean, they lost World Cup. They lost 3 games, the quarter, the semi, the final, but all by 1 point. And they were behind in that semi with, 6 minutes left to go or so. And all the players looked to him when he was on the field. So he would have been one of them, I reckon, yeah, for sure.
It's funny, it's just on that, when he said there were only 4, I actually thought he was going to say there were only 4 that couldn't handle the pressure and make a decision. I don't know why. Do you know? Yeah. I thought they're all peak performance athletes, obviously. And I think there's how many people in the team? Like 30 plus. Like, because he was saying, like,
23 in the squad, and then with guys on the bench and on the field. But then there's a bigger squad, that goes over in case guys get injuries. Yeah.
I would have thought that they were all pretty good managing pressure and making decisions. So I thought he was going to say there's only 4 that couldn't make decisions, but actually he was saying there's only 4 that can actually take decision under high pressure.
Yeah, but I want to just talk about his disc profile because it's very unique. That's what I actually think he's in the 4. But I want to tell a story about his dad. Just remind me about that. His dad. That was phenomenal. There's that, and then the culture and racism. He spoke about racism in South Africa and everything else. But so his profile is DS, which again it's like conflicting because an S is one of those people with a long elastic band normally, or they're very empathetic, and it's someone who, if you employ someone like that, they'll stay with you for 25, 30 years, extremely loyal, and they are someone that would be great for a complaints department. When you phone and you're angry and they're like, that's okay. Like, I understand why you're angry. I'll be angry too, They're not short, but he's a high D. So he's very decisive and he's got a short fuse in certain situations. And I think that's why he's on the coaching team, to be honest as well. But you could see how he can make decisions, but he can stay calm. He doesn't get flustered. So he's got that unique psychometric profile. So it's not common at all. His dad, right? So that story. So I asked him, how do the Springboks, this is great, this is team culture, and like in business, like it's about process and people, right? So you want to put best practice process in place, but then you want to build dream team. So how do you get a team to perform at its absolute best? And we've spoken about, involving women, making them happy. If people are happy to be there and everything works, great. But with a box, you've got guys you got black players, Indian, coloured, white, Afrikaans, white, English-speaking guys. And I'm like, how do you get the culture in that team to be one where those guys are like prepared to die for each other? And you've got some guys are Muslim, some are like, all across the spectrum. And he said to me, Russie got the guys together. They were at camp. Do you remember the story? They were at camp. And then Russie, the coach, said, hey, you guys got the night off. You can cut loose. And they put out that, beers and whatever else. And he said they went hot. They drank a lot. And then at midnight, a message came through, which most of them only saw early hours of the morning, 7 a.m. meeting. So they had to go to a meeting at 7 a.m. with 1 or 2 hours sleep, hungover as hell. When they got there, they were each given 2 beers. They were told to down one and then hold the other one. And they sat in a circle, and Russie was prepared as he is. He's a hard detail guy. So he had notes on every single player. And in Duane words, he pulled on these threads. He basically picked at them, at all their faults, to the extent that some guys stood up and were, swearing at him and, almost squaring up to him. Like they were really pissed off. They got extremely raw. But by doing that, he basically stripped the mask off everyone in the room. And then they were able to somehow, because of that, it's a bit like what they do at what Navy SEALs do, I suppose, when they go to Hell Week. Like they break them down, then build them up. And then that galvanized them, that experience, because they all saw each other for who they actually were. And it was like this process of all of them being authentic. And I suppose like just they would have felt so naked. And yeah, it was great. And then they, them winning that 2019 World Cup where there were rumors of racism. And I was like, no, come on, because you read that in the media and then they go on and win. So there's no way guys can do that. But his dad, the story about his dad, because I asked him, coming back to leadership and mindset, and then, we've been talking about cybernetics. In the same way your business will never outgrow your leadership, you'll never outperform your self-image. So I wanted to know, how did he get a self-image that was big enough for him to believe, and a belief system ingrained in him that he's a world champion and he could, play for the Boks and be one of the best in the world. And it's a process that happened organically. So he said when he was a kid, so his dad passed away when he was 8 years old, which I've heard people say, like there's a lot of very successful people that are either orphans, Steve Jobs, or their parents died young. And it's so excruciatingly painful that people use that pain and they channel it into it's some vocation, right? And they become, it's sad, but it's reality, right? So he said it was really tough after his dad died. His mother, single mother, didn't have much money. They were struggling. And she eventually met a guy who, I don't think she married him. But it was like a stepdad. He was there, and he was a businessman, successful businessman. And he said he was watching TV one Saturday morning. He's watching the rugby. Okay, his little boy. And this guy came in, his stepdad, and switched the TV off and said, "You're not watching rugby. Rugby's not going to take you anywhere. It's not going to make you anything in life." And he said, in that moment, he didn't wait till the next day. In that moment, he said, "I'll show you." And I actually get goosies because I didn't expect that response, but it would have been born out of the pain, because I think his dad would have supported him in rugby and he would have just gone, like, this is, it's just incredible. So that was interesting. I wasn't expecting that.
No, that's awesome. Like, I've never seen you so, like, excited.
I was fanboying out, man.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to.
I don't know what other word to use, but yeah, you're really excited and like a teenager, like, nearly, about to see his hero. But so really awesome people to me, both of them. Funny anecdote also, when Piri came to the venue, he was waiting outside, and we had this security guy.
Yeah.
It was like just managing the venue.
Big Maori security guy at the door. Yeah.
Yeah. He could not believe his eyes of like what event he was like coming.
He wasn't expecting it. Yeah. It was like some builders in a room. Next thing is famous All Blacks standing next to him. Yeah.
And I remember looking and going like, is that Piri? Because obviously I've only seen him in photos. Yeah. And then the security guy was like, yes, that's Piri Weepu. And he was so excited. And so that happened. And then Piri came in and did his presentation. And then the security guy was like, can I also come in? I just want to listen to it. And I was like, yeah, sure, come in. So he came in too because he was so excited to see him. And then later you came in with Duane. And then the guy was like, Duane? Oh my.
But it's also like the other thing is like anyone watching, if you think of your favourite sport, like the day before a grand final, this is the biggest test match of the year. The day before is when they do the captain's run, and then there's a build-up. You could feel, remember the energy in Auckland, you could feel it, and there were a lot of Box supporters and Kiwis walking around. And here it just come from the captain's run, like from the players as well. Yeah, and then he's walking in, but he was really relaxed and able to talk. Yeah, and he's a businessman as well, so that was good. He shared some insight. So yeah, we've got to, if you guys want to get a copy of Piri, actually presented. That's the other thing with Piri Weepu, because I did a Zoom call with him before we met him, and I didn't get to do it with Duane because he's like, his agent said don't contact him unless it's an emergency because they're preparing that week for its test match. But I said to Piri, do you want me to interview in the front of the room or do you want to present? And he said, I want to present because I absolutely freaking hate it. Like
he was nervous.
He didn't want to. Yeah. How good's that, right? Like if you think about like leadership and getting comfortable, being uncomfortable, get out of your comfort zone. Yeah. He's like, that's the thing I least want to do is stand there by myself and talk. So that's what I'm going to do. Yeah. And I was like, yes, I freaking love it.
Yeah. Listen for everyone there. No, yeah. It was pretty cool.
But the security guard with Duane, when I came back from dropping him off, he was so excited. He was like, "It's Duane the Springbok," and it was. He was just talking because he's a real quiet, introverted guy. And he was just lit up.
He was excited. He didn't know what he was in for when he started his shift that morning, and then he was like, happy.
Yeah.
But look, all the people that came to the event were pretty happy. We had awesome energy and vibe in the room.
Oh yeah, they started a WhatsApp group.
Yeah.
They just want to stay in touch. Yeah.
But maybe last thing, and obviously we spoke about all the rugby and the athletes and our guests, but a key takeaway for builders out there, like what are some of the key things that you want them to like remember or at least take away from that day?
Yeah, I think if you look at everyone, including ourselves, but again, Piri and Duane, what was the number one takeaway, right, in terms of parallels between peak performance in sport and business? It's process over outcome. Having a process for like your sales process, your financials, cash flow forecast, doing job reports at the end of jobs, making sure you held the margin. Your 12-week plan, reflection review, setting your goals, getting the team together, doing keep, stop, start meetings, performance reviews, reviewing job descriptions, KPI, all of that. What are your processes and are you following them consistently well? And then including from a leadership perspective, like your morning routine, setting yourself up. What are you doing from a mindset perspective? What are you allowing in terms of quality content, whether it's podcasts like this, audio books, going to seminars, courses, and then are you eliminating, I don't want to bash the legacy media or whatever, but, if it bleeds, it leads. There's a lot of negativity out there. So cut that out and allowing what's gonna nurture you intellectually and your soul, and make you a better leader. So having a process of outcome and following the process, not being impacted by the outcome.
Yeah, exactly. As much focus on the outcome as in terms of these athletes, like what's going to be the result, what's the game going to be, etc. What's going to happen if we do win, what's going to happen if we don't win, etc. So it's really let that go. That's out of your control and focus on everything that you need to do in order to be successful.
Yeah, and people understand, like if you've got no money in the bank account, that's an outcome that can really get you worried and stressed, and then people get frozen with fear and then things get worse. So there's no utility in worrying about that. But the flip side of that is when you win, is not getting too carried away with that either. Like when things are going well, making sure don't get lazy now and go, okay, well now I've made it, I can relax. That's when you're most likely to, to encounter issues. Oh, major, yeah. Mm-hmm. So there's teams like that, just go back to a rugby analogy, like the Argentinians, like they're a great team. They beat the All Blacks just before us. And they beat the Box before. But what happens every time they win, apparently they party for 4 or 5 days, non-stop. You know what I mean? They celebrate so hard that then the following week they lose horribly. They can't back it up because true professionals will take the win and go, okay, we won now. And again, easier said than done, right? But yeah, so it works both ways.
Awesome. I think that was it from my question. Was there anything else you wanted to add?
Yeah, just process over outcome and then preparation with reflection and review. So prepare in construction, the pre-construction phase, the most important part of the build process. Offering a value management solution, prelim agreement, the sales process, educating clients, using a client commencement agreement, positioning them strongly before a build, helping them understand they're part of the team, what their expectations are. And in a nutshell, that's leadership. I was talking to guys today. You got to lead clients through that sales process. It's your process, not theirs. And not enough builders do that, unfortunately, especially with architects.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you for that. Thanks everyone for listening. If you want to know any of our upcoming events, just check out our website, builderscoach.com. And that's it for it. Thanks.
Thanks, Jess. Thanks for joining us, guys. See you on the next one.